Okay, let's jump in. This is the kind of question I get all the time, particularly when I'm working with new clients, and I often get hit with right away. I don't understand why people aren't opening up. I ask questions. I ask for their opinions, ask for their ideas, and they don't say a word. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And so this is something that happens all the time. And it can leave a lot of people feeling really stuck, really frustrated, really unheard, not considered. And it's not a win-win for anyone. It's just a place where everyone's losing. No one's getting to progress. People aren't getting to share their thoughts, their worries, their concerns, their experiences. And there's so many reasons why. And so when I work with teams, that's one of the first things that we do is work to understand what's going on. Why aren't people talking? And so I do this in a way that helps people feel really comfortable to share. It's called working together alone. And instead of people just speaking up in a group, like, all right, everybody, let's share all the issues of why you don't feel comfortable sharing, which doesn't make anyone feel good. It doesn't make anyone feel safe. It's just kind of silly to think that that's going to work. Try something different. And basically, I have people do a lot more writing than talking. And at first, that feels kind of weird because everyone's so used to talking. But it allows people to really gather their thoughts, especially for people who take a longer time to process things. Some people need that time and distraction free and space to just sit with it and say, why don't I feel comfortable talking? A lot of times people know, but a lot of times people don't know. And sometimes people know, but they don't know how to articulate it. So giving people some time and space to really think about it. And these are some of the things that I hear of why people don't speak up at meetings. Again, even though leadership really wants you to speak up, it's not always the what that they're doing, but it's often the how they're doing it. So when I hear from all these different organizations, all these different team members, I hear a lot of the same things. One of the biggest things that prevent people from opening up fully and sharing is this fear of being seen as wrong. And that can be really scary for a lot of people, particularly in different cultures, in corporate cultures. There's a lot of corporate cultures out there that do not give positive regard, do not give positive experiences for people sharing where they're wrong. A lot of times when people share where they're wrong, there's negative consequences to that. Whether it's other people telling them how they can't be wrong. I remember when I used to work at the residential facility for mental health, after a couple months, I would go up to my supervisor, who was one of the smartest people I've ever met. And she would often, when I asked her a question, she would often say, how do you not know that? What's wrong with you? How do you not know this already? I didn't feel comfortable sharing with her anymore because I was fearful of being wrong. Because if I was wrong, then I was going to get berated and put down. And so that's a big reason why a lot of people don't speak up. If they're wrong, then there's a possibility that they might lose their jobs even. At least that's how they feel. Not all environments are like that. Some have some degree of that, but that's a common fear in just company cultures in general, where people feel fearful of sharing when they're wrong because now they're looking bad, and now they might get demoted, they might lose their job, they might seem less credible. And so there's just all these negative consequences that come when people share things when they're wrong. So that's a huge, and there's so much more to unpack on there, which we'll do at another time. But that's one of the big reasons why people don't speak up is, again, they're fearful of being wrong. Now, another kind of element that I hear from people of why they don't feel comfortable speaking up at meetings is because the fear of judgment. The fear that they will be looked as someone who's bad or wrong. The fear that they will be, whatever they say, whatever idea it is, whatever mistake that they want to brought up, that now people are going to judge them and look down upon them and look less than. So instead of having that, which nobody wants, we keep quiet. If I don't express this, then people won't judge me. If I keep quiet, people won't think this of me. Now, even if leadership, well, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So that's a big one, is this idea of like, I don't want to be judged. And that's probably one of the biggest ones I hear from staff members all the time, of like, I don't want to be judged. Another challenge that prevents people from opening up and sharing is the fear of being shut down. Of saying, nope, we're good. We've already done that before. Or that's not a good idea, let's move on. Or okay, thanks and bye. Instead of taking the time to really work to understand what people are saying, people take very much surface value of what people say and then shut them down, rather than when people are speaking up at meetings, taking the time to work to not understand what they said, but what it is that they actually mean, which can be very different. And so these are three things: the fear of being wrong, the fear of being judged, the fear of being shut down. These are all things that really hold people back from sharing up in groups, from sharing up at meetings, for sharing up at workshops. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what you can start doing to help navigate that. But be aware, like, these are probably happening. Now, as a leader, you might not have the intention of any of this. Your intention might be the complete opposite of this. You want a completely different environment where people can open up, feel free of judgment, feel free of being worried about being wrong, feel like they're never shut down. But the intention doesn't mean that's what's happening in the actual environment. And so there's a lot of things that we can start doing to help shift the environment. It's oftentimes looking at the environment and the systems in place, rather than looking at the individual and saying why this person's bad or wrong. Sometimes we need new behaviors and systems and rules and guidelines, and just speak to it in order to help people feel like they can actually open up, because people live by a lot of unsaid rules, and it might not even be the environment that they're in, but they're carrying kind of issues from their last environment or several environments from where they've come from, and they're bringing it into this new environment with that same assumption. So it might not even be directly the environment, it might be directly things that happened in the past, or maybe there might be a previous supervisor that created that environment, but they've been gone for 2 years, but yet there's still that fear that was created from that. So there's a lot of different issues that are going on. One of the biggest things to help start shifting this is I'm going to give you a little exercise, and I'll tell you what it is, and I'll give you a little example of what that would look like. I want you to think about, and this exercise, the reason we're doing this exercise is to help people start thinking about and help you start coming in connection with, what is the space, the area where I feel like I can completely open up, where I feel like I can completely share. And the intention is to get connected to what an environment and a space like that actually feels like, so that you can start having a little bit of a north of where you want to bring your meetings and your workshops to, so that people can open up. So that's the intent behind this exercise, is to help you come and connect with, what does this actually feel like to create a space? What does a comfortable, open space feels like? So I'd like you to first think about, who is someone that you personally feel really comfortable being open and honest with. It can be anyone. It doesn't have to be someone at work. It could be grandma. It could be a neighbor. It could be a friend. It could be a classmate. It could be a teacher. It doesn't really matter who. Just someone who you've been in connect with, where you felt like, oh wow, I can open up and I can speak freely here, and I can speak my mind, and there's no worries. There's no fear here. So, for example, for me, that would go with one of my best buddies, Zoe. He does a really great job of making me I never, ever, ever feel judged. Now, there's plenty of times where he doesn't understand what I'm trying to say. And so he puts in a lot of effort and energy to try to understand what it is that I really mean. Not just what I'm saying, but what I really mean as clearly and as succinctly as possible. And the amount of energy and time he takes into that shows that he really cares about me and that he really does want to hear what I have to say. And then he also then reflects back and shows and is curious of, is this what you're saying? Or are you saying this? And then I can help him clarify what he understands of what I'm saying. And so that's someone who puts in, he never ever makes me feel judged, even though we might have completely, which we often do, which is fantastic, completely different opinions on something, but he never ever makes me feel judged. He shows how he puts in the effort to try to understand what I'm trying to say, and then he makes sure that he understands what I mean and not what I say by reflecting back, are you saying this? And then I can go, yes, that's what I'm saying. So that's someone who helps me feel comfortable to open up and share honestly what it is that I'm trying to say, and that I can say anything to without any worries. Anything. And I don't think a lot of people even know what it's like to have someone like that. And a lot of times, again, it's not just the individual, but what is it the individual does and the environment that they create. And so I want you to, whoever that is for you, I'd like you for maybe to pause this video and write down what are the things this person does that helps you feel comfortable, that helps you feel like you can open up, that helps you feel like you can share. So just write it down. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Don't worry about it getting exactly right. It's not about getting it right or wrong. It's about trying to connect with the experience of what it's like to be in a space around someone where I can open up, so that you know what that space is like, and so that you can try to work on creating that with the people who you work with. So that's all that exercise is meant for. Just that's the intention of it, so you can kind of embody the feeling of an open, comfortable space, so that people can share, and so that you can fully understand what it is that people are trying to say, and you could put out fires, and you can understand things a lot faster, and you can save a lot of time and emotional energy of trying to pull things out of people instead of create a space where people are excited to share. And so I hope this was really helpful for you. Now, in the link, in the comments below, or in the description below, I have a link to a free resource. This resource is meant specifically to help you go through a play-by-play, and this is only a fraction of what is in that free resource. It's a free guide on how to get people to open up in meetings. So how do you have more successful meetings? Free guide that dives in way more than this video, but will help you, give you a step-by-step play of what it is that you all can do to start moving your staff forward, to create a space of open communication, honest communication, building trust, building safety, so that you all have a much more productive experience and a happier one as well. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to reach out. The website will be below, leadbyimpact.com, or you can email me, michael@leadbyimpact.com. And again, your free resource will be below. Thank you so much, and have a great day.